Hey dear friends, today I want to talk about drop 2 voicings and how you can tweak your most common drop 2 voicings like major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, half diminished, how we can tweak them and then use them as upper structure chords that have really cool sounds and endless possibilities. But in the end, we're just going to have 2 5-1s in minor or major. I have to warn you a little bit, this can be quite complex, this video, so it's good if you know how to play your drop 2 voicings on the middle 4 string. So this is a drop 2 voicing, for example, and it's just a C major chord. I'm just going to go over it very quickly. So it's C, G, B and E, and then you can move each of those notes up to the next note. So the C to the E to the G to the B to the C on the same string. C to the E, G to the B to the C and E to the G, and then you come up with the next chord and then you do that again and again. So if you want to practice those drop 2 voicings, be sure that you practice them like we say the notes C, G, B, E, so that you know the notes, because you need that too. And also root 5 major 7 3. This is a very commonly used chord voicing. So if I would say where's the 5 that's here, let's have a flat 5, then that would be here, right? And that would be super clear, I guess, to many of you. But the moment where we start to play all those inversions, and if we don't know where the G is or where the 5 is that we want to have a flat 5, we'll have to get back to visualizing or memorizing chord shapes, and in the end I think that's not the way to go, because then you can't connect to the knowledge. So that's just my warning up front. Basically, first of all, I'm going to show you a lot of cool shapes, a lot of tweaked drop 2 voicing. It's from the Wilmott book, by the way. And then I'm going to record roots under those chords, and then they will become completely different chords. And last but not least, I'm going to improvise over it. So let's take one chord voicing at a time. The first chord voicing would be the D major. So I think there wouldn't be so much trouble. That's the voicing we just had. The next one, this is on page 11, and it's exercise 2. He has an F minor 6 chord there, and the top note would be an F. Since we know the F minor 6 is an inversion of a D half diminished, we can just play this voicing. So we're going from this voicing to this, then we're going to a C major flat 5, so we're playing this shape again. But then we're just lowering it like this. And then we have an E7 flat 5. So there's a G sharp as a top note. All voicings are on the middle 4 string. So we have the E7, right? Because I know my drop 2 voicing. So I have an E7 with a G sharp as a top note. But it's an E7 flat 5, so I'm lowering it like this. Then I have an F major 7 flat 5, the top note is an A. Then I have a B flat 7, the top note is a B flat. Then I have a C major 7 with a top note B. Can you hear how nice it sounds? And then I have a D flat major 7 flat 5, so I just shifted higher. I know that's the 5, and then I play it like this. So we're absolutely in upper structure paradise. So let's do it one more time. And which might sound like random chords will make so much sense in the next moment. So the next row is F major 7 with the A, again this voicing. Then an E flat 7, the top note is the G and it's a +5, so the 5 is here. So it's. Then I have an A7 sus4, that's basically an A7. The top note is a G. Since it's sus, just the third goes to the 4. And then I have a B7 flat 5 with the top note, the F. Right, so let's play those. Then I have a D minor major chord. Right, so if you know your D minor 7, you know that's the 7, then that would be minor major. Then I have an E7 plus with the E as a top note. And since I know my inversion, I know, excuse me, which top note is an E. And since it's plus, that means the 5 is augmented, that's the 5. I know, it's like this. And then last but not least, I have a Cmaj7 chord with a sharp 5. So now you can see already that those voicings are always only tweaked by one note from our more basic drop 2 voicings. And I'm just wanting to play them one more time because they sound so nice. So freaking cool. And all this freedom we only have because we don't play the root anymore. So the next step, I'm going to record a root and then I'm going to play those chords over it, and let's hear how that sounds. So now I have the notes on my looper, and now before I record the chords, you know, like another layer on my loop, I'm just going to play the chords a little bit and practice them. So, and now I'm going to record those chords that we just have been looking at on top of those roots. And let's hear how that sounds, because that's going to sound really cool. Voice leading made from heaven. So now I can listen to it, and I have the root, which is going to change the color of the chord, of course, right? So we have the D major and the B on the looper. So now it's not a D major anymore, because the D to the B would be the minor third. The A, so the B is the lowest note. We're always thinking the root on the looper is the lowest note, which it actually also is. And then we think from the root on the looper up, right? So the D is the minor third, the A is the flat 7, the C sharp is the 9, and the F sharp is the 5. So this is now not a D major, but now it's a B-7/9 chord. I like this stuff, it's so magic. Let's have a look at the next chord, the F half-diminished, F-6 or D half-diminished, has an E in the bass. So So it's flat 7, major 3rd, flat 13, flat 9. It's an altered chord, E7. And the last one, Cmaj7, flat 5, on the A is minor 3rd, 6, 9, 5. So now what is it? It's actually 2, 5, 1, 6 with a secondary dominant instead of a half diminished, 2, 5, 1 in A minor, and then we have a secondary dominant, A7, 2, 2, 5, 1 in C major, F7, leading back. So now we have basically a very basic chord progression like we can find in Summertime, Fly Me to the Moon, but we have endless ideas now what kind of chords we can play. Of course we can play the D major 7 here, but just like maybe we want to play it like this in an inversion, and then when the next chord would come up, the E7, and we know we can play a D half diminished there, we can play it like this, right? So we know which drop 2 voicings work as an upper structure chord, but we can also experiment with inversions, but we can also play on different string pairs. And like this, we find something like a way out of always playing the same chord voicings. All, of course, is only working if you know what you're doing. Plus, on top of all of that, which I find the best thing at all is, of course you can. Let's say we have the B minor, and you have the D major, right? You have the D major chord and the B minor and the bass. So let's maybe just record it like this for a second. Now I have a B minor 7, 9. So I can also improvise using the upper structure drop 2 chord, the D major, as an arpeggio, right? Right, so, but, and also the next chord, the E7, right? With a D half diminished. So now I can record an E7, maybe flat 9, flat 13, right? Because that's what has been happening. And now I can use a D half diminished arpeggio on the E7, and then maybe on the A minor I can use a Cmaj7 flat 5 arpeggio. So basically the ideas that I get from the drop 2 voicings, I could also play the arpeggios in place. I'm not suggesting that you do that with everything and all of this because it's crazy, but just let's say we record a 2-5-1 in A minor, just to break it down a little bit, and then I'm playing D major, D half diminished, sorry, I have to practice it. And then I'm playing a C major flat 5, if I can. Yeah, so this is just a peek into the world of drop 2 voicing, and so much stuff to do. Have fun exploring those chords, and as always, think about it. There's maybe one thing that sparks your interest the most. So what I find really, really cool is this. D minor major on the B half diminished going to the E7. So I love this kind of shifting, right, of the upper three voices. So that totally speaks to me. So I might just, you know, only use those two chords as a vehicle for experimentation in the coming weeks. Hope you're having fun. I wanted to mention the Jazz Guitar Coffee Club is on. It's starting pretty soon already. Recorded some videos, also have some upper structure stuff like this. There's also a drop 2 lesson, and there's going to be a very cool dominant 7-sharp-9 blues lick and a lot of stuff, Charlie Parker line. And it's just like, you know, every Sunday morning a small lesson, maximum 5 minutes with a PDF, and you can sit down with your coffee and practice a little bit and get inspiration for the week to come. It's not a course where one lesson builds upon each other. It's more like a magazine from your Tina Jäckl that gives you a little bit of inspiration each Sunday, and the idea is basically not to overwhelm you, so the exercise can be a little bit more nerdy and complex, but I want to give you stuff like, you know, tools that you can explore, work with, and do your own thing. And see you around. Bye.